Hello, good morning, everyone. So we are now on the agribusiness development in the Philippines for our chapter 4 in AgEntrep313, Introduction to Agricultural Commodity and Entrepreneurial Development. So at the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify the challenges and opportunities in the Philippines and identify the agribusiness enterprise support program. So what is agribusiness? Agribusiness refers to agriculture-related activities that put the farmers, processors, distributors, and consumers within a system that produce, process, transport, market, and distribute the agricultural products. So mauni ang mga kalihukan no, sa pang-agrikultura that put the farmers to produce the agricultural products, to distribute the agricultural product, and to process the agricultural product, and of course to market the agricultural product. So mao na ang agribusiness, from production to marketing. Okay? Marketing of the agricultural products. So the transformation of agricultural farming into a thriving agribusiness-driven sector entails acquiring the farming technologies. So training in more sophisticated farming techniques, creating stable supply chains, establishing transport and agricultural infrastructure, investing and research and development, and of course, securing a reliable property rights regime. So the vision of the industry, the vision is to transform and upgrade the agricultural sector from traditional farming to agribusiness or industrial clusters to take the advantage of opportunities in rubber, coconut, mangoes, bananas, coffee, palm oil, cacao, and other emerging high-valued crops. So again, the vision of the industry is to transform and upgrade the agricultural sectors. Munang timan ninyo, i-transform and upgrade ang mga agricultural sector to take advantage of opportunities in other emerging high-valued crops. Okay, so the goals and strategies, so natay ang mga short-run goals, medium-run goals, and the long-term goals. So the short-run goals, from 2014 to 2017 nga goals, this is to improve the productivity of high-value crops where the regional comparative advantage lies. And of course, strengthen our capacity in emerging high-valued crops. So that is the short-run goals. Now, the medium run from 2018 to 2021 nga goals no, sa industry, karon no, murag ilang goals karon, apil karon, ana na sa medium run. So, strengthen agro-processing and the linkages between the production and processing. No? Ipaligon pa yun no, ang pag-process of mga linkages sa production and processing. And of course, strengthen the supply chains and commodity clusters. And ilang long-run nga goals is to deepen the participation in the global value chains. Okay, mo na ang mga goals and strategies sa ato ang industry. Now, the strategic action first is to strengthen coordination mechanism among stakeholders, address the supply chain gaps and other coordination issues, provide support to small farmers, especially access to technologies, promote the green and climate resilient products, investment in rural infrastructure, investment in innovation and the research and development, strengthen regulatory and certification system, and the property rights regime. So according to this box, no, this figure, the agribusiness a catalyst to drive the regional economic transformation. So again, the vision is to transform and upgrade agriculture from traditional farming to a globally competitive agribusiness sector. So muna gina ang goal karon. So nadi ang phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So karon, as of now this year 2021, so nata sa phase 2. The economic contribution and the growth performance. So the agricultural sector as a whole has only grown by an average of 1.1% in the last 5 years in terms lang sa value added. So at the subsector level, the fisheries sector has registered the fastest growth of the three components. So again, ang atong agricultural sector as a whole na alang, nitaas lang siya og 1.1%. And of course, the fisheries sector maoy paspas kayo ang pagtaas sa value added. So with an average value added growth of 9.2% from 2009 to 2013. Okay, and it is followed by the agricultural subsector, which is the crops, livestock, and poultry, with an average value added growth of 1.4%. So, in this agricultural subsector, the cassava and poultry has registered the average value added growth rates of more or less 4%. And they are the top performers. So the cassava and the poultry are the top performers among the agricultural subsector. Okay, so the forestry sector contracted on the average by 0.3% during the same period. So this is in terms of growth performance in terms of the value added. And you can see in the table, and the source is from the Bureau of Agricultural Statistics, okay, from the year 2008 to 2013. So the value added share of agriculture to the GDP, or the gross domestic product, has been the lowest among the three major sectors of the economy since 2008. Okay, at the subsector level, the agriculture has the largest average value added contribution, okay, with an 80% average share from 2008 to 2013, whereas the fisheries sector has the lowest contribution with only a marginal na average share of 0.6% for the same period. So the top contributors for the agricultural subsectors are, kaya kalimtino ang top contributors sa agricultural subsector, si palay, livestock, and the poultry, with more than 10% contribution to the total agricultural industry value added share. So makita man nato sa atong table diya, no, total industry ag agriculture from 2009 to 2013, and the forestry, and of course the fishery. And under sa agriculture na ay mga subsectors. So atong mailandia unsa nga commodity ang top or ang low, no, low performance in terms of the value added. And dili na punta sa employment contribution, no. Ang atong agriculture sector as a whole has been the second biggest employment contributor to the total employment since 2008, and with an average share of 33.65%, okay, from 2008 to 2013. So makita nato diya si agriculture, hunting, and forestry, okay, mao na siya. And of course, the top contributor for the same period is the services sector. Services sector atong top, with an average share of more than 50%. Okay na siya, 51.5% as shown in the table. And in the subsector level, the agriculture, hunting, and forestry segment with an average employment share lang 30%. It has the bigger share than the fishery segment with only 4% lang ang fishery industry. Okay. And again, that data is from the Bureau of Agricultural Statistics. Now, we will discuss on the industries, okay, different industries from the agricultural subsector. So the common first is cacao. From cacao nga, may mga tong tabliya, no, sa pag-process nato, we can have this tabliya sa mana gikan na sa cacao. So cacao or tabliya, 100% cacao beans without added ingredients and additives. So it is also a cocoa mass and a cocoa liquor made from cacao beans that are fermented, dried, roasted, ground, then molded into blocks, balls, disc, or tablets. So klase-klase ng mga shapes mga processes no nga mabuhat nato sa cacao. So cacao, it is traditionally used in the Philippines to make a hot choco beverage using a wooden mixing implement or stirrer. So the Cacao Industry Development Association, or the CIDA, no, CIDE, the CIDA Cacao Industry Development Association of Mindanao, estimated that around 2,000 tons of cacao beans is processed to tablia. So ang cacao, according to CIDA in Mindanao, so na 2,000 tons ang gina-process into tablia. So the industry is composed mostly of the smallholder farmers who supply the dry cacao beans to the processors or the manufacturers. So manufacturers are mostly small to medium scale enterprises. So some of the larger players are also into cocoa powder and the cocoa butter. So the country exports and imports cocoa and cocoa products, which includes the chocolate confectionery containing the cocoa in various forms and sizes, other food preparations containing cocoa again in various forms and sizes, and of course other than chocolate confectionery containing again to the cocoa various forms and sizes. Okay, so the total imports of cocoa and the cocoa products in 2012 is amounted to 3,662 tons with a CIF value of almost 12 million US dollar. Okay, so on the other hand, the total export in 2012 is 512 tons with a total FOB value of 1.8 million US dollar. Okay, that is for our cacao or tablia. And this is the facts and figures of the cacao industry from 2008 to 2013. So makita nato diha ang cocoa beans, whole or broken, raw or roasted, pila ang mga tons ang makuha diha. Cocoa shells, husks, skins, and waste, cocoa paste, cocoa powder, unsweetened, chocolate, and other food containing cocoa. So mas daghang gyud sa of course ito sa chocolate and other food containing cocoa, no, nasa mga 12,000 to 16,000. Okay. So mo tong imports in kilogram, no. Ang export pod mas daghang gina-export diri sa kuan po no, chocolate and other food containing cocoa. So from 700 to 3,002 kilograms no sa export sa atong cocoa. Kay mao na siya ang atong imports. So imports, gina-import ang mga chocolate and food containing cocoa and gina-export gyapon pod na siya. Okay, so this source is from United Nations Commodity Trade Statistics Database. Okay, second industry mo nang gitawag nato nga Carrageenan or Carrageenan. Okay, Carrageenan among the world's top biggest exporters. So murag sagbot ni siya murag lato bitaw or murag gusto mo nang Carrageenan. Okay. The Philippines is well known and leading producer of this Carrageenan Philippine grain. Carrageenan is one of the most reliable inputs in meat processing, processed food, dairy products, condiments, personal care products, and the pet food products. Okay. About Carrageenan, the Philippines produces the high quality food grade Carrageenan. So research na unsay forma no sa Carrageenan, basig nakita na ninyo, nagunita na ninyo. Okay, so about 70% of the Philippine Carrageenan exports are refined Carrageenan, while about 27% are semi-refined. So as an export industry, the Philippine Carrageenan exhibits the high export performance vis-a-vis its key competitors, with exports from 2004 to 2013 reaching an average of 101.5 million US dollar and amounting to about 13,100 tons per year. Okay, nonetheless, there remains much room for growth in the manufacture of Carrageenan through investment in the production of the raw materials or mga seaweeds. Okay, mauna ang mga Carrageenan. Mao gid na mga seaweeds. Okay, Carrageenan na sila. Mga guso lato mao na siya. Okay? Advanced technology for processing. So, mao nang ginatawag nato nga mga Carrageenan. The third is the condiments. Kabalo naman sa mga condiments, ketchup, mga tuyo, suka. Okay. So condiments and sauces are among the country's essential food products. So gisugot gyapon ta sa essential food products. So this one is also considered as the essential food products. Diba? Sa man ang lugaw, essential or non-essential? Okay, no comment. Kamu na mag-comment diha. Okay? In a country where eating and dining is an important social activity, so these products are constantly profitable, of course, and will continue to experience the high levels of demand as the population increases. So in this regard, the Philippine condiments industry can enhance its competitiveness in specialty products as well as explore the other export markets in order to increase the sales and accelerate the growth. Okay, about condiments, so Philippine-made vinegar, soy sauce, ketchup, and fish sauces are some of the more competitive products of the domestic industry with the United States, UAE, Arab Emirates, and the Saudi Arabia as its largest markets. So, laban na yapon ang Philippine condiments. Its competitiveness is attributed to its relatively low export prices, availability of technologies in the production of condiments and sauces, and relatively low labor costs in urban and rural areas. So while there are about 1,000 manufacturers of condiments and sauces in the country, only 50% lang ang approved by the Philippine Food and Drug Administration or the FDA, which means that there is still untapped potential for increasing the supply if the remaining 500 companies are supported through additional investments. Okay, muna ang sa condiments. Ikatulong industry is about the processed fruit, no? Processed na mga prutas. So dried mangoes is among the more for daghang kay nga mga processed nga prutas, dried mango is among the more competitive food manufactured products in the Philippines. Lamig pud kay na siya. The country's brand of dried mangoes is well recognized around the world, with 85% of the total dried mango local production exported to the key markets. We export siya such as in the United States, China, Japan, South Korea, and other Asia-Pacific countries. So because of the wide acceptability of dried mangoes worldwide, the Philippines can reap greater benefits by expanding its market coverage and deepening the value of the dried mango production in the country. So about the processed fruit, compared to its competitors, the Philippine dried mangoes are known for its premium cuts of the Carabao mango. Okay, pinaka-basic no sa nga variety nga gigamit sa process or sa dried mango is the Carabao mango. It is a variety that is of more abundant in the Philippines and is more efficient to use because of its thick flesh or kanang cheek na baga kayong unod na naman na ang sa Carabao mango. So because of the high quality of this raw material, the Philippine dried mangoes are also distinguished from its competitors for its naturally sweet, juicy, and fresh taste. Okay, through the available technology used with the local processors, the potential for growth in dried mango production lies in increasing the raw material base. So that is by establishing the more efficient mango tree plantations and of course improving the firm's marketing and the supply chain operation. Okay. And the fourth industry is on the processed meat. Sa karne na punta. So the Philippines processed meat industry has 6 different product categories. Nata, first, fresh processed meat products. Ikadua, secured meat pieces. Ikatulo, raw cooked products. Ikaapat, ang pre-cooked products. Ikalima, ang raw or dry fermented sausages ag ang dried meat. Okay, mauna ang unom ka mga different product categories sa atong meat. Okay, major exports products Ang pinaka-export nga products ang mga sausage, corned beef, bacon, luncheon meat, and other indigenous meat products. So about the processed meat, the country is a net exporter of our processed meat products. So in 2013, the industry generated about 47.3 million US dollar in export. And the major export markets include the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Japan, USA, Canada, Guam, and Taiwan. So the local industry imports around 85% of its raw material inputs. So in terms of finished processed meat, majority of its output meets the domestic demand. And there are 175 meat processors in the country, majority of which are located in the National Capital Region, Region 3, and the Region 4A. Okay, so ang ilang industry is the Philippine Association of Meat Processors Incorporation, or the PAMPI. It is composed of members companies which produce about 600 million kilos of meat products worth over 90 billion peso. Canned and processed meat products manufactured include the ham, hot dog, luncheon meat, sausage, and bacon. Okay. And the last is the processed shrimp. Okay, nari gina-process gyapon nga shrimp. Shrimp is one of the 7 major aquaculture species in the Philippines. Okay, it is one major aquaculture species. And it is one of the country's 2 major aquaculture export sent to countries such as Japan, Korea, and the US. Okay, shrimp farming in the Philippines uses a variety of systems which are affected by the climate, availability of capital, site location, sources of water supply, the marketing of harvested products, and the availability of the cost of farm inputs. Okay, so and about the processed shrimp, the Philippines is a net exporter of shrimp, which contributed 25% to the total fish and fishery exports in 2013 and amounting to 558 million US dollar. The countries export various types of processed shrimp, including the frozen, head-on or headless, and unshelled or shelled shrimp. And there are a number of shrimp processing plants approved by the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or the BIFAR, located in Manila, Bohol, Butuan, and General Santos City. So this sell shrimp products such as pasteurized bottled salted shrimp, a fresh frozen black tiger or white shrimp, shrimp powder, frozen black shrimp, and the frozen pre-cooked peeled shrimp. And there are numerous available areas for shrimp culture and production in the country, thanks to its archipelagic nature. Of course, shrimp good. And the strong presence of the prawn growers cooperatives in the country provides the needed support to the supply chains. So lastly, the availability of trained technicians for good manufacture practices and other food safety standards and requirements ensures that the industry will have the high quality produce. Okay. So mao to ang lima no ka industry, biggest industry no. And now we'll proceed in the agribusiness management development in the present Philippine context. Agribusiness here encompasses the primary production, upstream economic activities related to the production and distribution of all inputs and services used in on-farm production and downstream industries. So mao ni ang sa exigencies in agricultural production natay comprehensive agrarian reform law. So the basic law was enacted in 1988, authorizing the government to acquire by purchase all agricultural lands in the excessive of 5 hectares per landowner plus 3 hectares per landowner's qualified dependent. So the program obviously affected the commercial farms when transferring the ownership and management of many farming enterprises to relatively inexperienced and ill-prepared farm workers. So these disruptive effects were attenuated only where the acquired and distributed lands were leased back to the former owners or entrepreneurs. Okay. So another factor is that the food security program, this has placed production of staple crops on high priority, mainly the rice and the white corn. So for these crops, the objective is not only adequacy, but sufficiency at affordable prices. Second, exigency. Internationally, the Philippines acceded to the World Trade Organization and the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement. In addition, there are the Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, and the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, the APEC, no, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So the main end result of this agreement is a borderless economy. For agriculture and agro-industrial products, this obviously calls the global competitiveness in a few years. So, ano po ang tawagan ni karon, no? Not in a few years, but karon na, tawag na siya karon nga global competitiveness. So for the Philippines, it means even as the new agricultural entrepreneurs are quickly learning to walk, they have to run to even survive. Okay. Dapat not only to walk, but to run to survive. Okay. Now, there are some resulting imperatives. Okay, economically, agri-enterprise is to attain better profitability to stay in business both at home as well as abroad. Mao gyud na. Maka-business ta at home and abroad. Of course. Second, socially, this forward movement has to take place in an environment of smallholder farmers, and the first and the time-consuming task is organization development. While agriculture does not necessarily enjoy economies of scale. Okay. And the third, underneath all these difficulties and threats lie opportunities. These are found most brightly in agribusiness ventures, linking smallholders and the business firms. So a new role for agribusiness management is to accelerate enterprise development for smallholders, farmers, and through linkages with business firms such as contract growing and joint ventures. So the management task, first is organization development. This is the first task, and it needs to be done for the both prospective partners. So the business firm, for it is taking on a new role as a land lease equal partner, and the smallholders, for they're also taking on a new role as entrepreneurs and as landed equal partners. So the work of organization development must clearly follow the path of the value formation, skills development, community-based resource management, institution building, and community development. And it must be focused on commitment, business purpose, accountability, business agreement, responsibility, entrepreneurship, and the trust between the partners or the cart for sure. The other component which bears some explanation is the management of the community resources. So that the general target is improvement. And the design of the partnership package. Okay, the design between the partnership between the cooperative farm and the business firm may take different forms. So first, contract growing could be a simple arrangement where the cooperative farm agrees to supply a given volume of the specified farm produce to the business firm, following a schedule at the pre-agreed prices or according to some formula pricing. Second, joint venture pod between the co-op and the business firm are currently receiving much attention. So they have a number of variation. Of course, varieties of commodities. This could be a single commodity or range of commodities. Third, enterprise gestation period. So the joint ventures are more appropriate for the long gestations. And ikapat pod, level of integration. And this is further subdivided into joint venture only at the downstream level and joint venture from primary production downstream. So another design is build, operate, transfer. This is where a business firm undertakes the financing and the construction of some infrastructure facility. So the firm operates the facility for a period sufficient to recover the investment and earn a reasonable return. And ikalima, ang cooperative farms may also enter into management contracts with outside parties if this expertise is lacking. And these are not included either for the same lack of linkage between the stakeholders unless it is part of a joint venture. And land leasing. It is the last package but is not included either for the same reason unless it is the initial phase of a joint venture. So the management development task, as mentioned in section 4 above, a catalyst is needed to bring about the transit of opportunity into enterprise. And that this catalytic action is the new role of agribusiness management. But it was also seen that this new role is very diversified. Economist, business and financial architect, politician, and sociologist, but the products are anime. Okay. So the science of this kind of management is still being formulated, but the art is already being practiced. So the need for this kind of management is pressing or it is brokerage. So management education has to catch up. Okay, and of course, that's the end of our topic for the chapter 4, agribusiness development in the Philippines. Of course, hope you understand our topic and good luck and God bless to the final exam. So thank you for listening and God bless everyone.